Millionaires play a different game than the crowd. While most are shouting about opportunities, the wealthy are quietly building value. While the masses chase paychecks, the wise are creating systems. While some spend their weekends spending money, others spend it thinking. And the irony is, the ones who stop chasing are the ones who eventually get caught by wealth. So the question isn't how do I make more money? It's how do I think at a higher level? If you really want to know why you don't have the money you want, don't look at your job, look in the mirror. Money is simply a reflection of who you've become. If your skills are average, your income will be average. If your thinking is small, your results will be small. But if you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, life begins to open doors that once seemed locked. Because the marketplace doesn't pay for time, it pays for value. Let me tell you something that changed my entire philosophy about life and wealth. I used to think that if I just worked harder, stayed up later, and hustled longer, success would eventually find me. But I learned the hard way that you can chase money all your life and never quite catch it. Because wealth is not something you pursue, it's something you attract by the person you become. You see, the marketplace doesn't respond to desperation, it responds to value. It doesn't care how much you need, it only cares how much you bring. The truth is, you can't chase success, you must attract it through discipline, character, and the consistent pursuit of personal growth. Now, that doesn't mean you sit on your couch and wait for wealth to knock on your door. Attraction is not about waiting, it's about becoming. The question is not, how do I make more money? But how do I become the kind of person who deserves to make more money? Because when you grow, when your skills, attitude, and awareness expand, everything else rises with you. Opportunities appear that were invisible before. People start to notice your value. The right conversations, partnerships, and ideas seem to find their way to your path. That's not luck, that's alignment. The first step is to dedicate time daily to your personal development. Spend an hour a day studying success, reading good books, listening to great thinkers, reflecting on your goals. It may not look like much at first, but here's the secret. Small disciplines repeated daily create giant rewards over time. Wealth doesn't come overnight. It's built layer by layer, like a great structure, grounded on the foundation of who you become in the process. Character is the soil in which wealth grows. You can't build lasting success on shaky integrity or half-hearted effort. The wealthy understand this. They build themselves before they build their business. They master their emotions before they manage their money. They learn discipline before they demand freedom. When you strengthen the roots, the fruits take care of themselves. I've seen people who win the lottery and lose everything within a few years. Why? Because money came to them faster than they grew as individuals. Wealth without growth is like pouring water into a cracked pot. It leaks. If you want to hold abundance, you have to expand your capacity to manage it. That's why personal development is not optional. It's the key. Every day, ask yourself, am I becoming more valuable? Not in comparison to others, but in comparison to who you were yesterday. Are you learning something new? Are you practicing self-control? Are you becoming more reliable, more skilled, more aware? Because money doesn't come to those who want it most. It comes to those who have earned the right to receive it. So, if you want to attract wealth, don't start with the marketplace. Start with the mirror. Don't chase after opportunities. Become the kind of person opportunities chase after. When you focus on becoming more, life begins to give you more. Because wealth is not a reward for what you do, it's a reflection of who you become. And when you finally understand that, You stop running after success, and success starts walking toward you. When I was a young man, I used to think the key to wealth was simply working harder. I believed if I just stayed later at the office, took fewer breaks, and pushed myself more than anyone else, I'd somehow find my way to success. But after years of running in circles, I discovered something revolutionary. It wasn't about how many hours I worked on my job. It was about how much time I invested in myself. You see, your job will make you a living, but working on yourself will make you a fortune. That realization changed everything for me. Most people spend 8, 10, maybe 12 hours a day working for someone else, building someone else's dream, chasing someone else's goals, and by the time they come home, they're too tired to build their own. That's the tragedy of modern life. The secret of the successful, the wealthy, the fulfilled, is that they never stop working, but the real work happens within. You can't expect external growth without internal improvement. You can't expect a better income if you remain the same person you were last year. The marketplace rewards value, and the only way to become more valuable is to work harder on yourself than on anything else. Think of it like this. If you take your current level of skill, effort, and mindset, and simply double your hours, you'll only double your exhaustion. But if you double your value, if you learn, refine, and grow, you multiply your results. One idea, one skill, one shift in thinking can change your entire trajectory. It's not the hours that make you rich, it's the evolution of your mind. So, ask yourself, what are the skills that separate the average from the extraordinary? Communication, leadership, influence, strategy, these are the currencies of wealth. Learn how to express ideas clearly and powerfully. Learn how to lead others and yourself with integrity and vision. Learn how to influence decisions, solve problems, and create solutions. These are the abilities that transform you from an employee to an entrepreneur, from a worker to a creator, from a participant in life to a designer of it. You don't need to wait for opportunity. You need to become the kind of person who attracts it. Spend time every day feeding your mind. Listen to educational content during your commute instead of idle chatter. Fill your car with wisdom, your mornings with reflection, and your evenings with reading. Don't just consume entertainment. Consume education. Entertainment will make you laugh. Education will make you rich. And never underestimate the power of mentorship. Find people who have walked the path ahead of you and who will challenge your thinking, not just comfort your habits. Growth never happens in comfort. The right mentor can shorten your learning curve by years. They can help you see blind spots you didn't even know you had. When you invest in yourself, you become your most valuable asset. The goal isn't just to earn more, it's to become more. Because when you become more, you naturally attract more opportunities, more respect, more wealth. The person who focuses on self-growth never stays at the same level of income or influence for long. So here's the truth. Don't wait for the company to give you a raise. Give yourself one through your effort, through your learning, through your transformation. Don't work harder on your job than you do on yourself, because your job is temporary, but you are permanent. The better you become, the better everything around you becomes. If you want your life to change, you must change first. When you grow, your world grows with you. That's the secret to building not just a living, but a life worth living. When I was younger, I used to think that the secret to success was simple. Put in more hours, grind harder than everyone else, and eventually the world would reward me. I thought the person who worked the longest day would earn the biggest paycheck. But one day, I learned a lesson that flipped that belief upside down. You don't get paid for your time, you get paid for your value. That realization changed the entire way I approached work, wealth, and life. You see, the marketplace isn't sentimental. It doesn't care how tired you are, how long you've been at it, or how much effort you've put in. It pays you for results. You can spend 10 hours pushing a wheelbarrow uphill, or 10 minutes designing a system that does the job for you, and the market will reward the latter 10 times over. The difference isn't effort, it's leverage. So many people confuse movement with progress. They're always busy, running, chasing, reacting, but not actually advancing. I used to meet people who would proudly tell me, "I've been working 60 hours a week for 20 years. And I'd think, that's impressive dedication. But have those years made you more valuable or just more tired? The key is not to work harder, but to work smarter, to think before you act, to plan before you move, to design before you dig. A day of deep thinking is often worth more than a week of frantic doing." Imagine a carpenter who spends hours hammering nails without realizing he's building the wrong house. That's what most people do with their lives, working harder on the wrong things. The wise ask before every task, what result does this activity produce? If the answer doesn't move the needle, if it doesn't create value, progress, or growth, it's just busy work. Wealthy people are not busier than others. They're more selective. They focus on high-impact actions, the ones that create exponential results, not just incremental effort. Leverage is one of the most powerful words in wealth creation. You can't build wealth by trading time alone, because time is limited. The wealthy learn to multiply their effort through people, systems, and ideas. They automate what doesn't require their genius, delegate what someone else can do better, and concentrate their energy on the few things that produce the biggest returns. That's how you go from earning a living to creating wealth. I remember a time early in my career when I spent entire days answering letters, making phone calls, organizing notes, all important tasks, but none of them wealth-building ones. Then I realized, if I spent those same hours creating new products, refining ideas, or teaching others to duplicate my work, I could multiply my income without multiplying my effort. Once I started focusing on activities that produced results, not just movement, my income began to rise almost automatically. The secret is to think like a creator, not a worker. The worker asks, how many hours can I give? The creator asks, how much value can I deliver? One is focused on effort, the other on impact. And the marketplace always rewards impact. Take time to identify what tasks can be automated or simplified. Technology is your silent employee. Let it work for you. If something can be repeated, it can likely be automated. And what can't be automated can often be delegated. Don't let pride keep you trapped in tasks that don't grow your value. The truth is, time doesn't make you rich. Thinking does. The wealthy don't have more hours than the poor. They just make their hours count more. Every minute they invest is designed to produce a result, a system, or a return. So ask yourself every day, am I being busy or am I being effective? If you learn to answer that honestly and adjust your habits accordingly, your income will start to reflect your value, not just your hours. Remember, time is limited, but value is limitless. The moment you focus on creating value, the market will begin to chase you, not the other way around. When it comes to building wealth, most people don't suffer from lack of desire. They suffer from lack of direction. Everyone wants more money, more freedom, more success. But if you ask them, what's your exact financial goal? They'll often hesitate, look around, and say something vague like, well, I just want to be comfortable. But comfort isn't a strategy, and vague dreams produce vague results. The truth is, money follows clarity, not confusion. I learned early in life that confusion is expensive. It drains your energy, divides your focus, and ultimately drives away opportunity. When you're uncertain about where you're going, every path looks tempting and you end up walking in circles. But when you know exactly what you want, everything begins to align. Your actions, your conversations, your relationships, even your habits. The universe responds to order. Chaos pushes money away. Clarity invites it in. I remember a time when I was working day and night, chasing every opportunity I could find. I thought activity meant progress. But at the end of the year, I was exhausted and broke. I finally realized I wasn't missing effort. I was missing focus. I didn't have a clear financial plan, just a wish list. So I sat down one evening and wrote my goals, not as vague dreams, but as measurable, specific targets. I asked myself, how much income do I want to earn this year? How much do I want to save? How much do I want to invest? I broke it down month by month, week by week, and for the first time, I had a map instead of a maze. Within a few months, my results changed, not because I worked harder, but because I worked clearer. You see, wealth loves structure. Just as a river gains power when it's channeled, your financial energy gains power when it's focused. The moment you simplify your goals and direct your energy toward them, you become magnetic. People, opportunities, and ideas begin to move toward you because you radiate certainty, and certainty is attractive. So how do you build clarity? Start simple. Write a one-page financial plan, not a 50-page document filled with jargon, just one page that answers 3 questions. What do I want? Why do I want it? And how will I get it? If you can't explain your financial plan on one page, it's too complicated. Simplicity brings power. When your plan is clear, decision-making becomes easy. You stop hesitating and start executing. Next, review your goals weekly. Don't let them fade into the background of daily distractions. Wealth is built through consistent awareness. Every week, take 10 minutes to review your targets, your savings, your investments, your income goals. Ask yourself, am I moving toward clarity or back into confusion? You can't manage what you don't measure. And finally, track your money. Every dollar that comes in and every dollar that goes out. It may sound tedious, but it's one of the most powerful disciplines in wealth creation. When you track your money, you become conscious of it. And when you become conscious, you become capable. Confused people lose money without realizing it. Disciplined people multiply it intentionally. Remember, wealth doesn't come to people who are busy. It comes to people who are clear. If you don't know where your money's going, it's probably going somewhere else. If your goals are cloudy, your results will be too. The secret is this. When you bring order to your thoughts, you bring order to your finances. When you bring order to your finances, you bring peace to your life. Clarity is not just a financial principle, it's a spiritual one. It aligns your mind, your habits, and your actions in the same direction. So before you chase another dollar, pause and ask yourself, what do I really want and why? Then write it down, simplify it, review it often, because once you become clear, you won't need to chase wealth, it will start chasing you. If you want to change your income, you must first change your outlook. Most people try to change their money without ever changing their mind, and that's why they stay stuck. You see, your financial life is nothing but a mirror reflecting your internal beliefs. If you believe money is scarce, it will always run from you. If you believe opportunities are few, you'll overlook the ones that are right in front of you. But if you train your mind to see abundance, to think in terms of possibility and potential, you'll begin to attract opportunities that others can't even see. The truth is, wealth doesn't start in the wallet, it starts in the mind. I've seen people lose fortunes not because they lacked intelligence, but because they never upgraded their thinking. A poverty mindset looks at the price tag. A millionaire mindset looks at the potential. One says, I can't afford it, while the other says, how can I afford it? That one word, how, is the difference between stagnation and success. It shifts the brain from limitation to creativity. There was a time in my life when I was broke, not just financially, but mentally. I blamed circumstances, the economy, even my background. I thought the problem was out there, but the truth was, the real problem was in here. My thinking was too small for the life I said I wanted. When I finally realized that my mind was my greatest asset or my greatest liability, everything changed. I stopped saying I can't and started asking, how can I? And with that one shift, my entire world began to open up. Your mind has two choices every day, to see obstacles or opportunities. The poor mindset focuses on what's missing. The wealthy mindset focuses on what's possible. The poor mindset hoards, afraid of running out. The wealthy mindset invests, knowing there's always more to create. Remember this, money is a servant, not a master. If you serve money, you'll always feel enslaved by it. But if you learn to master it, to direct it with wisdom and purpose, it will begin to work for you. That's why it's critical to question your beliefs about money. Sit down with a journal and ask yourself, what did I grow up hearing about money? Maybe you heard things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are greedy, or you have to work yourself to death to get ahead. Those ideas, as innocent as they may sound, become invisible walls that limit your financial growth. Once you bring those beliefs into awareness, you can challenge them. You can replace them with new ones that empower rather than restrict. Then, feed your mind with new information. Read one financial mindset book each month. Learn how successful people think, not just how they act. It's not the tactics that make millionaires, it's the thinking behind them. When you read and listen to ideas that expand your perspective, your actions naturally follow. Your confidence grows, your creativity increases, and your decisions improve. I often tell people that wealth is 80% mindset and 20% mechanics. The strategies, saving, investing, budgeting, they're important, but they only work when the mind behind them is strong. If you still believe that you're undeserving of success, no amount of money management will keep you wealthy. But if you begin to believe that wealth is something you can create, not something you must chase, the flow begins to change. Money moves in the direction of belief. It's attracted to confidence, clarity, and creativity. And it repels doubt, fear, and scarcity. That's why two people can live in the same city, work in the same field, and face the same economy, yet one becomes prosperous while the other struggles. The difference isn't luck, it's mindset. So the next time you catch yourself saying, I can't, stop and reframe it. Ask, how can I? Because the moment you change your question, you change your future. Don't let limiting beliefs steal your abundance. Guard your thoughts, because they are the architects of your destiny. Remember, your income will rarely exceed your level of thinking. Expand the way you think about money, and you'll expand the amount of money that flows into your life. Wealth doesn't start with opportunity. It starts with perspective. Change your mind, and your money will follow. Let me tell you something. Life does not respond to begging, it responds to becoming. The people who chase opportunities with desperation often watch them run further away. Why? Because desperation carries the scent of scarcity. It says, I need something outside of me to feel complete. But opportunity, my friends, is attracted to strength, to confidence, to competence, to calm preparation. When you grow, you glow. And when you glow, the world can't help but take notice. The secret is not to chase wealth, success, or love. It's to become the kind of person that those things are naturally drawn to. If you want to attract better, you must first become better. You can't have $1 million dream with a minimum wage mindset. You can't expect loyalty, abundance, or excellence if you're not cultivating those very qualities within yourself. You attract what you are, not what you wish for. I remember when I was younger, working long hours but seeing little progress. I thought effort alone was enough. But then I realized the universe isn't impressed by effort, it's moved by effectiveness. I had to work on becoming valuable, dependable, and disciplined before any meaningful reward showed up. One of the simplest ways to start this process is to keep promises to yourself. Every time you say, "I'll wake up early," and do it, you build self-trust. Every time you choose learning over laziness, you send a signal to life that you're ready for more. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, one small act of integrity at a time. Invest in your health, your mindset, and your habits, because you can't attract abundance from a foundation of exhaustion and confusion. A clear mind and a strong body are magnets for opportunity. And above all, practice gratitude daily. Gratitude is the seed from which all abundance grows. When you appreciate what you already have, you open the door for more to flow in. Remember, life gives to the grateful, not to the greedy. So stop asking for more until you've mastered what you have. Become the kind of person who attracts success without needing to chase it. Because once you become that person, wealth, peace, and opportunity will start finding you. Most people spend their entire lives chasing money. But here's the truth. The real goal isn't to make money, it's to build freedom. You see, money by itself is just paper, metal, or numbers on a screen. It only becomes meaningful when it buys back your most precious asset, your time. Because what good is a bank full of dollars if you don't have the freedom to enjoy a sunrise, take your family on a trip, or spend a quiet afternoon reading without checking the clock? True wealth isn't measured in currency. It's measured in control. It's the ability to live life on your own terms, not under someone else's schedule. When I was younger, I thought money was the prize. I thought if I worked harder, earned more, and saved more, I'd be rich. But one day, I met a man who changed my thinking completely. He said, "You don't want to be rich, you want to be free." That hit me like lightning, because he was right. I knew plenty of people who earned a fortune, but were prisoners of their businesses, their bills, or their lifestyle. They had money, but they didn't have freedom. Real wealth is when your money works harder than you do. The strategy is simple but powerful. Create systems that generate income without demanding your constant attention. Build assets, not just paychecks. Assets are the soldiers that go out and earn for you while you sleep. It might start small, a rental property, an online product, a dividend-paying investment. But the goal is the same, to make your money work harder every year while you work less. Automate your savings and investments, because discipline is easier when it doesn't depend on willpower. Let consistency do the heavy lifting for you. And most importantly, define what financial freedom looks like to you. Don't let society decide. Maybe it's retiring early, traveling, or spending time with your children. Whatever it is, write it down and create a plan that leads you there. Freedom doesn't come by accident, it's a design. So, when you wake up tomorrow, don't ask, "How can I make more money?" Instead ask, "How can I buy back more of my time?" Because the day you stop trading hours for dollars and start building assets that pay you in your absence, That's the day you stop working for money and make money start working for you. That's the day you become truly rich. One of the greatest traps in the modern world is the temptation to look wealthy instead of becoming wealthy. You've seen it: the designer clothes, the newest phone, the car that costs more than the house. The applause of others has become more valuable to some people than actual financial freedom. But the truth is, many people go broke trying to look rich, while the truly wealthy are often quiet, deliberate, and invisible. Real wealth doesn't need to announce itself. It shows up in peace of mind, in options, in freedom. And I'll tell you something, insecurity is loud, but success whispers. Early in my career, I fell into this trap too. When I started making a little money, I wanted everyone to know. I bought the fancy car, the expensive suit, the big watch. But here's what I discovered. The applause fades, but the payments don't. Every month the bills came, and with them came stress. I realized I was working for appearances, not advancement. That's when I learned a powerful truth. Assets will feed you, but applause will fool you. You see, money is a tool. You can use it to grow a tree that bears fruit for years, or you can burn it for a quick moment of warmth and attention. The strategy is simple. Channel your money into things that grow, not things that glow. Every dollar you spend should have a job, either to earn, protect, or multiply. The goal isn't to impress others. It's to build something that lasts long after the crowd has stopped clapping. Avoid status purchases, the fancy car that depreciates, the gadget that loses value, the fashion trend that fades next season. Instead, focus on buying assets that appreciate: stocks, real estate, businesses, skills, or intellectual property. These are the quiet builders of true wealth. I often say, don't buy shoes that make you look rich. Buy assets that make you rich enough to buy shoes forever. Before every purchase, ask yourself one simple question. Will this make me richer, or will it only make me look richer? Because most people don't have a money problem, they have an ego problem. They trade their future freedom for temporary validation. But when you shift your focus from applause to assets, something beautiful happens. Your bank account grows, but so does your peace. So the next time you feel the urge to show off, remind yourself, wealth isn't built in the spotlight, it's built in silence. It's not about how good you look this weekend, it's about how free you'll be in 10 years. Build quietly. Let your results make the noise. Motivation is a wonderful spark, but sparks fade. Discipline, on the other hand, is the steady flame that keeps the engine of success running long after the excitement has worn off. Most people don't fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they can't stay consistent once the initial rush disappears. You see, it's easy to start strong when the idea is new, when the dream is fresh, but it's what you do when no one's watching, when it's inconvenient, when it's dull. That's what separates the successful from the struggling. In my early years, I was motivated by every new idea that came my way. I'd start a new project with energy and enthusiasm, but within a few weeks, my attention would shift to something else. I was addicted to the excitement of starting, not the discipline of finishing. One day, my mentor looked me in the eye and said, "You can't be wealthy if you keep resetting your effort every month. Consistency compounds, but chaos cancels." That was a turning point. I realized that success doesn't belong to the most excited person in the room. It belongs to the most consistent one. Motivation may get you to the gym once, but discipline gets you there daily. It may get you to save once, but discipline builds the habit that grows your wealth. The difference is this: motivation depends on emotion, while discipline depends on decision. You can't trust your feelings, they change with the weather. But you can trust your habits, they work whether you feel like it or not. The strategy is simple. Turn your financial habits into non-negotiables. Automate your savings before you even see your paycheck. Make your weekly financial review a sacred appointment with yourself, like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast. It's not optional. The wealthiest people I know don't make emotional financial decisions. Their systems do the work for them. They don't save when they feel like it. They save because it's automatic. They don't invest when the market looks good. They invest consistently because time, not timing, is their advantage. And here's something I've learned. Reward consistency, not intensity. It's not about doing everything in 1 week. It's about doing something every week. Even small, repeated actions create incredible results when done with discipline. The man who saves a little every month will outgrow the man who invests once in a while with passion but no pattern. So, the next time your motivation fades, and it will, let your habits carry you. Motivation builds dreams in the mind. Discipline builds them in the world. Anyone can feel inspired, but few can stay committed. Make discipline your daily companion, and you'll find that wealth isn't the moment of inspiration, it's the reward of repetition. Remember this truth. Motivation starts the journey, but discipline guarantees the destination. Wealth, my friends, is not an accident, it's a science. It has laws, patterns, and principles, just like physics or medicine. If you ignore those laws, you pay the price. If you master them, you get rewarded. Money doesn't respond to luck. It responds to understanding. The reason some people stay broke isn't that they're not working hard. It's that they never studied how money actually works. Ignorance is the most expensive mistake you can make, and most people are paying for it every day. I remember when I was young and broke, wondering why some people seemed to attract money effortlessly while others could barely make ends meet. Then I discovered something powerful. Wealthy people don't just earn money, they study it. They learn how to make it, keep it, and multiply it. They treat wealth like a subject in school, not a mystery of life. The poor spend years studying entertainment and distraction. The rich spend years studying finance and value. The difference in what you study becomes the difference in what you earn. If you want to be healthy, you study nutrition and fitness. If you want to be wealthy, you study economics and investing. The challenge is, most people stop learning after they graduate. But that's exactly when real education should begin. Wealth education doesn't happen in classrooms. It happens in your daily habits. Every book you read, every seminar you attend, every mentor you listen to adds another brick to your financial foundation. The strategy is to treat wealth building like a lifelong subject. Read one finance or business book every month, not for entertainment, but for application. Attend seminars, online courses, and conferences where money is discussed by those who've built it, not just talked about it. Study the patterns of self-made millionaires, how they think, how they make decisions, how they recover from mistakes. Wealth leaves clues, and the wise collect them. I once asked a wealthy man what his secret was, and he said, "I spend more time learning about money than I do spending it." That line stuck with me, because it reminded me that wealth is a result, not an event. It's a product of what you know and how well you apply it. You can't multiply what you don't understand. So, make financial education a daily discipline. Listen to audio programs while driving. Replace idle scrolling with insightful reading. Discuss ideas about money, not just prices. Most importantly, take what you learn and act on it. Learning without doing is like having a map and never leaving home. The truth is, wealth isn't built by wishing or waiting. It's built by studying and applying. You can't guess your way to prosperity. You must grow your way there. So study wealth like a scientist, practice it like a craftsman, and live it like a philosopher. Because once you understand the science of money, it will no longer run from you, it will start running toward you. Gratitude, my friends, is the seed from which abundance grows. It's the foundation of all wealth, not just in your wallet, but in your spirit. You see, a mind that's grateful can never be poor, and a mind that's ungrateful can never truly be rich, no matter how much it earns. Gratitude turns ordinary moments into blessings and small victories into fuel for greater success. When you learn to appreciate what you have, you create the energy that attracts more of what you want. That's how the universe works. That's how life responds. I learned this lesson early, back when I was broke and frustrated. I remember sitting in a small apartment, staring at overdue bills, thinking life wasn't fair. Then one day, I heard a simple phrase that changed everything. Be thankful for what you already have, while you pursue all that you want. I began to see that wealth doesn't start with money. It starts with appreciation. When I shifted my focus from what I lacked to what I had, health, opportunity, time, ideas, everything began to change. Gratitude didn't just make me feel better, it made me think better. It lifted my perspective, and from that new level of thinking came new results. Here's the truth. Complaining repels opportunity. People who constantly focus on what's wrong never attract what's right. The world doesn't open its doors to complainers. It opens them to creators, to those who see possibility in the midst of challenge. Gratitude sharpens your eyes to see what others overlook. It tunes your mind to solutions instead of problems. It builds resilience, patience, and humility, all the ingredients of wealth. The strategy is simple but powerful. Focus on appreciation before accumulation. If you can't appreciate the small, you'll never handle the big. Start and end each day by writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Not just the obvious things, but the small details too. A good conversation, a lesson learned, the courage to try again. Express appreciation to the people who make your journey possible. Say thank you, not just with words, but with sincerity. Every act of gratitude strengthens your relationships, and strong relationships attract opportunity. And when life doesn't go your way, and it often won't, resist the urge to complain. Replace every complaint with a lesson. Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Gratitude doesn't deny difficulty, it transforms it. It gives you power over circumstance, because it reminds you that there's always something to gain, even in loss. I've met wealthy people who are miserable and ordinary people who radiate joy. The difference isn't income, it's outlook. Gratitude is the great multiplier. It turns scarcity into sufficiency and sufficiency into surplus. When you operate from gratitude, you don't chase wealth, you attract it. Because gratitude aligns you with growth, and growth is the essence of life. So remember this, the secret to more is being thankful for what already is. Be grateful for the progress, for the process, for the people who walk with you. Gratitude doesn't just make you richer, it makes you worthy of the riches you seek. Legacy, my friends, is the true measure of wealth. The houses, the cars, the bank accounts, they all fade. But the ideas you plant in others, the habits you inspire, the values you live by, those outlast generations. The goal isn't just to leave behind money, it's to leave behind meaning. Because money dies when you do, but principles, those live forever. The great question of life is not how much did I earn, but who did I become and what did I give back? I've met people with fortunes who left nothing of real value behind. Their money scattered, their families divided, their names forgotten. And I've met men and women of modest means whose influence still lives decades later. Why? Because they built legacies, not just livelihoods. They taught their children integrity, perseverance, generosity, and those lessons became their true inheritance. That's wealth the world can't take away. When I was young, I thought wealth was measured by possessions, but over time, I realized that wealth is measured by the people you touch and the wisdom you share. The marketplace rewards success, but life rewards significance. And the difference between the two lies in what you do with what you've gained. If you build success but hoard it, it ends with you. But if you share it through mentorship, teaching, or contribution, it multiplies beyond you. That's what I call the compound interest of influence. The strategy then is simple. Build a legacy of wisdom, discipline, and contribution that outlives your bank account. Mentor someone who's where you once were. You don't have to be perfect to guide someone. You just need to be willing to share what you've learned. Teach your children not just how to earn money, but how to manage it, respect it, and use it for good. Show them that money is a tool, not a master. Let them see that discipline creates freedom and generosity creates joy. And don't stop there. Invest in causes that reflect your deepest values. Maybe it's education. Maybe it's community development. Maybe it's helping others rise from where you once stood. When you align your resources with your beliefs, you give your wealth purpose, and purpose gives your wealth permanence. The impact may start small, but remember, every great forest begins with a single seed. Legacy is not built by accident. It's built by intention. Every day, you're writing your story, and one day, others will read it. What will it say? That you lived for comfort, or that you lived for contribution? That you chased money, or that you created meaning? The truth is, the world doesn't remember the amount in your account. It remembers the difference you made with it. So, start today. Mentor one person. Teach one principle. Support one cause. The return on that investment will outlast every dollar you ever earn. Because real wealth isn't what you leave for people, it's what you leave in them. And that, my friends, is the kind of wealth that time can't erase and death can't take. That's the wealth that lives forever. As we close, remember this simple truth. Wealth isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become. The goal isn't just to make a fortune, it's to grow into the kind of person who deserves one. Because if you become valuable, opportunities will find you. If you develop discipline, money will trust you. And if you live with purpose, wealth will serve you, not the other way around.